Hi, in this lesson you're going to learn how to begin doing a woodcut on linoleum blocks. So this is called, they used to do it with wood, but this is a linoleum block. So woodcuts are a very traditional old way of printmaking, and so this is your introduction to printmaking. You've learned about stamps in the past, I'm sure, but have you ever made one? Maybe. So we're actually just doing a bigger version than that. What I'd like to show you here is that I have a box in the classroom of chisels. Now these have kind of a scooped end on them and they have a handle, but you can see that they are quite sharp. And so we're going to talk about safety with these as well. In this box there are different sizes so you can of chisels. So you can look on the back and you can see that this is a number 5. So there is 1 through 5. And you'll find them in here with the handles. Now you can take them off the handles. Some of them have chisels inside of them, so you can twist this off and find or put the chisels that you want to use in there so we don't lose them. Try to just use them on the linoleum block and not anything else. Also, I have here a bench hook. So this is a hook that stays on the table, so sometimes you put quite a bit of pressure as you're carving this thing, and you have to move this block different positions to carve. And so I'd like to show you that right now. I have a number 2, a number 3, and a number 5 with me, and you can just twist these off, pull these out. You might have to wiggle it, and if you want another one, you need to be careful there's a slit right there, and you need to be careful to get it in there and then screw that tight. Okay, so what would make a good wood block or a wood cut, or in this case a linoleum cut, what would make it good? Well, so you can see that the surface is all gray and that my drawing is in black marker. Now I did it in pencil first because you can erase on this, and then I went back with marker. I wouldn't say that this is a great drawing, but it's kind of a quick one for you to learn from. If you're going to do a wood cut or something, you want to be aware of how much black or how much that'll turn to a different color later when we print it possibly, but how much negative and positive space, or how much black and how much of this is going to remain uncolored. And so I would suggest to you that half of this could be cut out. And if you have a lot of gray or this white showing, then the more gray, then the more cutting you have to do. So when you do a drawing, you can come in here once you got it in pencil and actually add your lines. You can go thin or thick, but the more of this that you can make dark and thick, then the less cutting you're going to do later. Because what we're going to do is we're going to cut around the lines, and we're going to keep whatever's black that will be printed. So whatever you cut is going to be lower, and whatever we don't cut is going to stay higher. Now, the term you need to know for that is called relief. So even though this is a linoleum cut, a modern wood cut, this is relief printing. Relief means that when I roll ink over the top of this, I don't have ink on this, but when I run ink over the top, only ink is going to stay on top. You don't want ink to go down in the grooves. So as we do this, we're cutting away linoleum to go down in the grooves. Do you see how I'm holding this? I want you to hold it carefully and just do it like that, and you can pull up to break it off. You can throw these away. And so if I'm going to go around this edge right here, I kind of need to rotate this. Always push away from yourself. So you can have one hand here and one hand here. You're pushing quite hard. But if you have a hand here, it could slip and gouge you. And I want to, I have some Band-Aids close by, but if you really hurt yourself badly, it's because you weren't following the rules. So I need you to always be pushing away, and that means you might have to rotate, have the corner here, and push against that hook. That's why we have this. Could you imagine doing this without a hook? I start pushing and this thing just slides, and then my finger slips. So I need this thing to keep me on track. And then I can start doing a texture in this other space. So the smaller the chisel, the finer line you get. The bigger the chisel, the bigger gouge or line you get. So you can see how big these are coming up as chips. Now I can go around and outline this, and so what color is this going to be? This will stay the color of your paper. When you print this, I roll ink over that, and it can come on to a different color, but the inside will stay white. If my paper's white, this will be white. Now be aware of the direction that you're going and what you do to create a texture inside. So let's look at this closely. I put these in rows. Sometimes ink does get on these little texture here. See, if ink touched that, it would look like this. This is a characteristic of this kind of printmaking, to sometimes see a little bit of ink on this texture. So I'm just drawing on top of the texture to show you what it would look like when ink touches that. And because when you smash your paper over that, to print it, it will transfer to your paper. So if you want to dig out the scales, for example, you're going to go around the black. So you're going to carve out everything that's not black. Do you understand? That's why I said maybe you want to think about doing more black than white here, because you're going to do a lot of carving if you don't have a lot of black on there. If you just know that there's a big area that needs to remain black, you don't have to actually color it in with this. Just don't carve it away. So I don't expect you to do everything with a Sharpie. So if you have to cover this whole area, just don't shade it in. Just avoid that area with your chisels. In your next tutorial, you will learn how to effectively put ink on this and run it through a press, so that with the right amount of pressure, we get a nice even print every time. What our goal is to make every print of an original work of art. So if you mess up one, guess what the printer does? He throws it away. Or guess what a book printer would do if the text is smudged, that he or she's going to throw it away. So you need to be aware of the same thing as you begin designing your project and drawing it and then printing it. How is this going to turn out for the viewer? And can I keep it long enough printing so that I can make multiple copies and don't have to throw as many away? It will happen though. You will have to throw some away, and you'll have a trial and error proofing process that you go through as you print this. That is your tutorial on relief printing using a lino block or linoleum block.